Hi, sexual energy, sexuality, sex. What does this topic evoke in you? How does your energy react when you hear a conversation about it? When you talk about it yourself? Do you feel the expansion of curiosity or the contraction of embarrassment? Does it bring up something pleasurable, something addictive, or something taboo, or maybe a mix of all that? Out of the dozens different energy types we can feel in our body, sexual energy is the one that is the most loaded, the one that has the most cultural baggage attached to it, by far. Why? Why is there so much desire, attachment, craving, fascination, repression, and even hostility around this energy type? There are many reasons for this phenomenon, and I will unpack them later. But for now, let me give you the one fundamental reason why this energy is so polarizing and why it's been buried under layers upon layers of emotions and beliefs over the centuries. Simply put, sexual energy is one of the most powerful types of energy in the human body. It's the energy that gives impulse to life. That's why there's a clear correlation between your level of vitality and how freely your sexual energy flows within you. But we've never been taught how to deal with this, right? Yes, it's the energy behind raw physical attractiveness and sexual pleasures, but it's also the energy responsible for creativity. And it's one of the most important types of motivation for material and social achievements. Oh yes, this energy is definitely present in non-sexual behaviors and activities when sex is the last thing on your mind. More than that, not only does it have a huge impact on your well-being, but it can also be a catalyst for your transformation, or it can just destroy you. So it's just impossible to talk about inner energy without considering sexual energy. Before we continue, I have a really important piece of information for you. Certainly the most important of this video, maybe of this whole channel. This knowledge has changed my life in some crucial ways. You ready? Sexual energy is not sexual desire. I know they often get confused, but these are really two different things. There's obviously sexual energy and sexual desire, but you can absolutely feel sexual energy without sexual desire and without being aroused. And this is a sad thing. Most people can only access their sexual energy through desire and arousal. It was certainly my case not so long ago. For me, sexual energy used to be a contracting energy because it was, if you will, imprisoned in desire and arousal. But now I can feel it as an expansive energy, most of the time anyway. So as you can see, we're talking about two opposite types of sensations here. And let me tell you, when you manage to feel, use, and even elicit your sexual energy without external or even mental input, it's a revelation, and your sexuality becomes something quite different. It's no longer something you do with somebody else, but it's just this pleasurable and powerful energy you feel inside. Let me go further and add something that may shock you. For the Taoists, feeling horny and having lustful thoughts is usually a sign that your sexual energy is depleted and not that you have too much of it. In other words, there seems to be an inverse correlation between having lots of sexual energy flowing freely within you and having lots of sexual craving and desire. One is a movement of expansion and the other a movement of contraction. It's like the difference between being hungry and enjoying the food, if you will. This explains why the Taoists managed to turn sex into an art, a yoga, a ritual, a meditation, and even a therapy. But for the people in the West, this is something quite puzzling, isn't it? The famous Taoist teacher, Mantak Chia, puts it this way: sexual energy is available to man 24 hours a day, but most men starve themselves sexually because they believe they can satisfy themselves sexually only during a few minutes of intercourse. Now, I'd like to briefly describe this energy and give you some tips on how to increase it. To be honest, sexual arousal produces some powerful sensations in your body because of the intensive release of hormones it provokes, which you feel as, for example, butterflies in your stomach, muscle tensing, rise in temperature, blood pressure, and heart rate, and so on. These sensations can obviously be pleasant, but they tend to conceal and overpower their source, that is, your sexual energy, which is a lot more subtle. Pure sexual energy is felt as a warm and watery sensation that usually starts in your pelvic area and that spreads naturally all over your body. Of course, this sensation is also very pleasant, but even if it enhances your sexual experiences, it does not push you to have more sex. Pretty counterintuitive, isn't it? So how do you separate the gross from the subtle? How can you go past all the layers and get to the core? I'll give you the same fundamental key I've given you in all my other videos. Awareness. You need to hone your awareness and attention like a musician or a wine taster. So use the same awareness exercises you're using for your other inner energy practice, and you'll start feeling that precious sexual energy, stripped of all the psychological conceptions you've attached to it. In the beginning, you'll have to elicit desire and arousal in order to feel it and isolate it. But your arousal shouldn't be too high, otherwise it will overpower the subtle sensations of sexual energy. Another thing you'll notice is that all the blocks and repression you have around this energy. And start by first addressing your mental blocks. For example, if you believe, even unconsciously, that sex is bad and dirty, you need to deal with that problem at the root first. And increasing your inner perception will automatically answer our second question here, which is how to increase this energy. Well, becoming aware of it and giving it more attention and clearing all the main blocks will necessarily increase the flow of this great energy. This is where you need to start, because increasing your desire will only increase pressure if inside of you the energy is not flowing as it should. Thank you for your presence, and see you soon.